Hey guys, so last episode we talked about Twitch and we talked about exactly how it built its community by adding certain features to its platform to increase user engagement and to just make people feel connected, right? Twitch, of course, is the live streaming platform. You can learn more about that on the last video, but today I want to expand that a little bit more. How do brands build community around their products, right? Think about it. Because again, how do you build communities that are engaged in your product and are literally like, okay, they recognize this by brand association immediately. When you think of what kind of product do you need for this, or what kind of company addresses this best, like immediately your company comes to mind, right? Like, how exactly does it get to that point, right? And I'm here to tell you this: communities are fundamental in getting to that stage of brand awareness and brand recognition. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to figure out how some successful companies have done that and find some ways that you can apply those lessons to your own projects, your own content strategy, your own company, or your own product, whatever it is that you are doing, that you are looking for user engagement or consumers. We're going to find out how to apply that. So when it comes to community building, we're talking about all types of different brands here. We're not just talking about technology brands, right? Twitch was a technology brand, but we can expand it a little bit more. We can talk about anything from consumer goods to beauty to retail to technology. We can talk about anything across that and everything across that, right? But what we're looking for specifically are examples of successful community building. And one of the most recent examples that comes to my mind, at least when I think of successful communities and successful product launches, is Fenty Beauty. So Fenty Beauty is a beauty brand created by world-renowned singer and actress Robin Rihanna Fenty. Okay, so even though Rihanna had a notable following, a large audience prior to even launching Fenty Beauty, what makes Fenty Beauty's launch different than other celebrity launches is that they use design thinking in creating a product that would make the existing market almost turn their head, right? Because again, there's so many beauty brands already on the market. There's so many different people that were already in that space. So when coming into a space that was already saturated, Rihanna had to think of a way to connect with her audience. But she didn't just think of a way to connect with her audience, she connected it back to her own personal experience. Here's the community building aspect. We're first humans before we're anything else. We're human before we're any company, before we're any brand, before we're any content creator. We are human, and we have that shared human experience. Rihanna connected her shared human experience of not being able to see, colors and palettes for women of darker skin colors, darker skin complexion. She even mentioned her mother, people who were close to her, and she wanted to do something about that. She wanted to be the one to bring a solution to the market. And she realized that it wasn't just an issue that she faced within her own family and her own community, but that other women in other communities faced as well. So what did Rihanna do? Rihanna made a Fenty Beauty, a beauty line that addressed some of these concerns that she saw. She made sure to empathize with her audience, as she was part of her own audience, which is actually a plus. And she made sure to understand what it is that women were really looking for. They were looking for representation. A lot of women, especially Black women, did not have that representation in that beauty market that they really needed. They had all types of makeup shades that didn't match their skin complexions. And Rihanna said she was going to do something about that. The result, when Fenty Beauty launched, it made $100 million. And the entire beauty industry was shaking. Rihanna made history officially. Okay? But that's a large scale, right? That's a large scale. Rihanna's a celebrity. She, already had lots of endorsements, already had lots of connections and things like that. But I want to focus here on how she built that community. She focused on the needs of her audience. She focused on women of color. She focused on women who felt like they didn't have those tools to express themselves in the way they wanted to. Whether or not they wanted to really use makeup to achieve those objectives, they didn't feel like they had the option, and Rihanna provided the option. And the whole beauty industry realized, and what happened? They started offering more inclusive skin tones, inclusive complexions that women of all shades can use. So that's one way Rihanna built community. But now let's look at the next example. So the next example is an influencer that I want to talk about, who I personally follow here on YouTube. Her name is Lynalure, right? Lynalure. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right, please, because I don't want to mess with people's names. I know how that feels. It's not great. But yeah. So anyway, Lynalure focuses on entrepreneurship, but she focuses on entrepreneurship in a very interesting sense. Not in like I'm starting a whole company, or oh my God, like I'm building this huge product type of thing, but just in senses that everybody can get behind. Senses that anybody, who's possibly working an office job or just looking for another stream of income can get behind. So it's a very user-friendly way, right? But one thing I want to highlight about Lynalure first and foremost is that she has a personal brand. When I was watching one of her videos when it comes to, even getting started and establishing yourself, she spoke a lot about the importance of selecting some topics that are really important to you, that resonate with you, and sticking to it. When you have a skill and you really go into that skill and you keep on learning and make sure that you grow the resilience, grow the necessary experience for that skill, then you become really good at it. It's like you become a master possibly, right? Or an expert, if you like to call it that. So it's like having that particular skill set or topic set when it comes to even your personal influencing, your personal brand, that your customers can, your audience, right? That your audience can come and relate to on a regular basis. You know that Lynalure is going to post something about entrepreneurship, post something about streams of income, post something about her personal development as an entrepreneur, post something about maybe her business or what she's learned about becoming a more productive person in terms of personal success. So that's what I associate her channel with: personal success and financial development, right? And that's what she's good at. That's what she continues to put content out for. So this is a lesson for all of us who are content creators, for all of us who are influencers, for all of us who are looking to be brand ambassadors or anything of the sort. It's important to develop your own personal brand identity, which we can get into this in another time, another video. If you guys want me to talk about that, I can at some point. I might even post that maybe on Instagram or some other platform. But developing your personal brand identity is super important for fostering community as an individual with an online presence. As you've seen with Lynalure, she connects her different social media channels to her YouTube, and she's able to foster community by having that selective personal brand. She's chosen what she wants to focus on, and she's not really boxing herself in because that's what she really cares about, that's what she's interested in, but she finds ways to connect her personal interest to those of her communities. And again, this goes into the design thinking aspect of it, which involves empathy, figuring out what kinds of problems or what kinds of needs or concerns your audience has, and as a person who is creating this content, as a person who's making products, as a person who's looking to engage with this audience, what you can do for them. Now, another community I'd like to talk about happens to relate to more of the tech side of things. So this community happens to be Adobe's community. And Adobe's managed to foster community in many different great ways. And I think when it comes to actually fostering community as a tech company, I think it's a great example to look at as well, in addition to Twitch, because Adobe's found a way to embed itself in the very fabric of the activities that its community engages in. And what I mean by that is Adobe is a creative company. We know this, right? If you're any kind of creative, you likely use possibly Adobe Premiere Pro, you probably use Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, you possibly use Adobe Rush if you're on the go, Adobe Spark. It goes on and on and on. And if you have a portfolio online with Adobe, that's through Behance. So Adobe's managed to create products actually around its community, products around its community's needs, right? So when it comes to fostering that, right, when it comes to learning from Adobe, what we can understand is that again goes back to listening to what your users want, but then it involves taking the active step of implementing that. So it involves not only the empathy, but it involves the prototyping and testing of different things that your users might be interested in. Of course, this could look at as maybe like A/B testing, or maybe if you're a product-oriented company, this could be MVP, which an MVP is a minimal viable product. So it's the most base components that you can put together as a product offering to test whether your audience really likes it or not. And Adobe uses its community to inform that, right? Adobe regularly runs video contests. Adobe regularly, reaches out to creators, regularly sponsors student brand ambassadors to push its products on college campuses, in corporate offices, all types of settings, to make sure that Adobe remains with that strong brand recognition and remains with that strong brand awareness as part of its image. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about Adobe's platform, Behance. Behance is not only a platform for creatives, but it actually allows creatives to showcase their work. It allows them to actually further themselves. So this is a principle as well, allowing your audience to add value to themselves. So meaning whatever you're offering as part of your brand or part of your product, in trying to build community, you want to try to offer things that will help your audience to add value to themselves. And what I mean by that is Behance is a great example of this. Behance is a platform where you can host your artwork or your other creative work. All types of designers are on it: UI, UX designers, graphic designers, video, motion designers, and all types of people, all types of videographers, photographers are all on Behance. If somebody asks to look for your portfolio as a creative, as a designer, you direct them to this website. It's nicely organized, it's neatly structured. You're able to personalize it to your liking, and you're able to present yourself as that professional creative when you're looking to even get contracts. So Adobe's adding value to these people's lives. It's not just saying, okay, hey, we're a creative company, but it's saying we're a creative company and we want to help you to build your brand, help you to build your own career using our products. So the last example I want to talk about when it comes to successfully building communities is Guide, right? And Guide is a soon-to-be launched tech company which actually has been garnering a following for quite some time now. It's founded by Tim Salau, who previously worked at WeWork, Microsoft, some other companies to name a few, and was a global evangelist and international speaker. I want to highlight what exactly Guide did prior to its launch, and it's about to launch soon. It's a very promising platform. I'm so excited about the launch myself, but I want to talk about its mentors and mentees community on Facebook, right? It has 7,900 members, and the platform hasn't even launched yet. This is incredible for any tech company, that hasn't even launched yet, hasn't even shown an MVP to its audience. It's incredible to have 7,900 people waiting to see what you're about to do, waiting to see what your next move is, right? So how did Guide foster this? From what I understand is that Tim Salau is a content creator, right? He's a content creator, not just a CEO, not just the founder, but he's a content creator, meaning he inserts himself into his brand, meaning his brand, his Guide brand, right, is also him. He creates regular content on LinkedIn. He goes live with different influencers, different people to help bring value to his audience. So he's bringing the value to his audience, but he's almost offering an indirect form of mentorship, and he extends the offer to join his Facebook group, Mentors and Mentees, for a more formalized offering of that mentorship, right? So you're able to connect with people who really have that same mindset of that growth mindset, because that's really what Tim Salau promotes. This promotes that growth mindset, right? So allowing people to find those communities that they fit into is one of the great things that he does. And allowing people to understand where they can find value is another thing he does. So again, I want to just highlight the fact that he brings this community to you. So that is one thing that Tim Salau does. But he doesn't just do that. He produces content that you can actually use. During the lockdown, Tim has been constantly putting out content that speaks about the future of work, speaks about the future of education, speaks about things that will actually affect you, affect his audience. Okay, so I'd like to do a quick recap of the 4 main principles that we learned today. So the first is developing empathy with your users so that you can better understand their needs and that you can connect with them on a human level. Number 2 is inserting yourself into the conversation. If you're any kind of a brand, personal brand, content creator, brand ambassador, influencer, you name it, insert yourself into that conversation that in the communities that you already care about, and showcase your personal brand. Showcase what you have to offer. You might have a unique perspective that then appeals to a niche portion of that audience. 3, allow your audience to add value to themselves. If you find a way to offer something to your audience that will allow them to add value to their own lives, whether professionally, personally, emotionally, in any way, right? That is another key of fostering community, and then that'll get them talking, likely, possibly, right? They might begin talking about what you are doing so that other people can also experience the benefits. And number 4, which we saw with Guide, is bring the community to your audience. Bring the community to your audience, meaning if you already have a community that you've already been looking into or you're already part of and that really relates to what your brand talks about, bring that to new people who are looking into your product. If you're creating content, if you're creating any kind of conversation around this, bring that existing community to your conversation so that other people can see what you're already offering, what you're already part of, and then they can jump right in if they want to. Community building is the work, right? And the work is awesome. The work is fulfilling. The work is needed, is meaningful. But the work needs to be authentic and sincere. So that's what all of these different examples show, that the work was a continual effort, and this is not some marketing strategy that is a one-time advertisement or something like that. This is the relationship. And it's important to build relationship with your customers, your consumers, your audience when it comes to building successful communities. And these people will in turn talk about you. They'll talk about your product. They'll talk about your brand. They'll talk about it because once you feel like someone's added value to your life, you're going to talk about them. Just like I've spoken about these companies. So think about that the next time you're looking to build community around any project you're launching, any series, any brand that you're hoping to build even larger than before. Think about the ways that you can partner with people to add value to them. Think about the ways you can insert yourself into the conversation. Think about the needs that people have and how you can meet them at those needs and how you can help them to feel less isolated. If you guys had as much fun watching this video as I had making it, definitely leave that like and a comment of something that you learned or something that you found interesting or anything else really. I look forward to you guys' comments a lot. And if you guys got some value, tangible value from this video, and you learned maybe how you can improve the way you think about community, improve the way you think about interacting with your audience or people who you might want to partner with in the future, then definitely share this video because someone else out there needs to hear it. Overall, you guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm so excited to make these videos, and let me know what else you want to hear. If you want me to talk more about this aspect or if you want something else, I'm open to your feedback. Again, leave that in the comments, and I will see you guys with another new video very soon.